You could come to this film and this script knowing quite a lot about the period, or nothing. If you know a lot, you'll know that a lot of it is true. If you know a lot, you'll also know that a lot of it is nonsense. Some of it did happen, some of it couldn't have happened. I found that absolutely fascinating, that somebody would look at history in that way, through a completely, you might even say, skewed pair of eyes, in order to tell a very human and in many ways modern story. You know, they're wandering around in 17th century costume, but I think are talking like normal people. The importance goes along with the insanity of it as well. I mean, Louis XIV has so much power that he could decide to move out of the Louvre and build a palace at Versailles and then demand the greatest gardens that have ever been built in the world on a place so not designed to have gardens. Swamplands, 18,000 people building them, thousands of them dying, all of them getting bitten by mosquitoes on a kind of hourly basis, and impossible land to build on and cultivate things. And not only that, terrible problems with irrigation. So this famous series of fountains, in fact, only could be turned on one at a time, but then he would be wandering around and there'd be somebody kind of with a flag going, turn the next one on, he's coming. In his imagination, all these fountains were going constantly. So it's, what is it? It's hubris or glory or magnificent imagination of somebody with that much money and power. The film couldn't have happened ever without Kate saying yes. I couldn't have done it without somebody I trust as much as I do her, and that I can stand back from and actually, you know, just applaud. She's phenomenal on every level, not just on the day when you're working with her, but also any director would go down on their knees and say huge thank yous to whatever deity for the fact that when you're in the editing room, whether you're looking at the wide shot, the medium shot, or the close-up, there is perfect continuity. She knows exactly which line her hand went up to the leather strap, which foot she stepped off on, and it just gets slotted in, and not in a kind of boring technical way. I think she finds it quite freeing to be technically on top of it. She arrives knowing it backwards, and she arrives open and non-judgmental and listening. She's done her work, and now she'll just stand there and listen to her fellow actors and answer them. So what you've got from her is not just huge emotional commitment to the line, but also you can put the camera on her when she's listening, because it's telling you a lot. I had seen him, like most people, in Rust and Bone and thought, magnificent actor. His name was suggested, and I happened to be filming. Some things are meant to be, maybe, because I was filming in Belgium with Patrice Leconte, and his name had come up, and I'd seen Rust and Bone, and it's a very hard part to cast opposite Kate. And I said, does he happen to be here? Because I'm here. And he happened to be in Antwerp, and I was in Brussels. And so he came, and we met the next day, and I'm thinking, is Mr. Rust and Bone going to kind of slam his way into the room? Delightful, smiling person arrived, sat down, and it was just a kind of instinctive response as far as I was concerned. Stanley is a director too, so it's pretty challenging, frankly. You're always aware of, you know, his eyes are flicking around thinking, how would I shoot this scene? But fortunately, Stanley's a very good friend, and we've worked together before, so I wouldn't quite say plonk a wig on his head and a hat on his head in the same way as I was kind of plonking a wig on my head. And I'm sure it was challenging for him to walk onto a set in England, having to play with English actors in an English accent, in relatively formal dialogue. But you would never know it, because he's such a relaxed force, as the outtakes will prove to those who are allowed to watch them. They'd have to be over 16 is all I can say with Stanley's outtakes. But no, he's a joy and a wonderful actor.